Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, your home for all content Lord of the Rings home. Today I'm going to make another short video specifically about the developer Q&A that was released today. People asked a bunch of questions in the Discord over the past week, and then CG Heem basically filtered them and condensed them down for brevity and clarity and asked them to one of the lead producers, Nick Reinhardt. So I'm basically going to just go through some of the questions. Right off the bat, I'll just tell you right now, there's a lot of non-answers in this developer Q&A. So when I come to that question and I read it and it's a non-answer, I'm just going to say he didn't answer. But there's a few little nuggets in here that I think are worth digesting. So we'll start off with, when considering the what-if nature of the game, will we see characters from various ages and family trees across the Tolkien lore? This was essentially the question I asked in the developer Q&A channel, which is kind of cool to see. They're going to answer it. He says, absolutely. One of the things we get excited about is figuring out expression of some of the characters from the previous ages. You know, what defines third versus first age. I don't think that really answered the question. But they're excited to possibly do characters from different ages, which I think is probably the standard approach for CG right now, right? The 5 Han, full team Han, full team Chewie stuff. Given the world of Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit is so vast, which what-if scenarios are you most looking forward to exploring? And will each only have one character spawn from them, or could we see multiples? Basically piggybacking off the same question, which is, yes, they will have multiples. And some of their what-if scenarios are dealing with Dark Queen Galadriel and you know, Gandalf. Fallen Astari, yeah, Dark Gandalf. Those would all be cool things to eventually add into the game, I think. Will you be sharing a release calendar on what characters and content is coming up? And if so, how often? No. A question that's come up a few times, which is close to my heart for biased reasons, is there current cadence to the Road Ahead blogs? Are we thinking once a quarter on those? Yes, once a quarter. Another question very pertinent to CG Heem, I'm sure a lot of players have in mind. Will nerfs, buffs be a regular thing for home? Any specific characters or factions we should look forward to? The answer is they're taking the CG approach that they had in Swigo, which is they're going to try and not do any nerfs unless it's gameplay breaking. Or I think what's happened a couple times in Swigo, definitely in MSF, is, oh, there was a free-to-play way to beat the new expensive character, and so that was an unintended gameplay consequence, so then they will do it, nerf it then. But for my time playing Swigo, CG was pretty good about mostly just doing buffs, which is nice because then you don't have to worry about your investment in characters, although it always makes game balance a little bit more challenging and power creep a little bit more challenging. Thanks, no doubt that will be heartening to many. Another one, are character customization systems coming to home? Okay, I think this is an important nugget from this developer Q&A, and there will be stat-based character customization systems coming. They haven't decided when. They learned a lot in their experience building character collection, basically Swigo, and they don't have anything for us soon. This is essentially talking about mods. Is there going to be a mod system that's coming? I think people are sort of split on this. A lot of people like mods, usually if they have good mods. But then there's also the stat-based ones. So that's relics, I think, in Swigo, and then the ISO, I think, in Marvel Strike Force. Basically, you can dump additional resources outside of gear, outside of skill level, and all that sort of stuff that bring up your characters to do, I don't know, extra damage. It's cool when they unlock a new skill and whatnot. I do like that. A hot, even spicy question to go with any snack, folks. Why were pre-launch players and post-launch players combined on the same arena shards? Are there any plans to have a seasonal approach to shards or potentially shuffle them around every 3 to 6 months? Basically goes on to explain how arena shards work and that no, there are no plans to shuffle the shards. I think it's probably okay. I think a lot of people realize that, yeah, I'm never going to be the top of my arena shard unless I'm paying out not absorbent, but lots of money. And so people are mostly content to, you know, do arenas around where their current level is. And then things do smooth out in the long run. I think that's probably the case. CG Heem, with Lord Elrond being the first legendary character coming to home, what inspired that choice? Well, they don't say to throw people off from the data mines. Well, that's good, I guess. Basically, it was a thematic choice, and, we're at the start of the game, sort of looking at a character that's sort of near the start of the Fellowship, looking at something, I guess, Lord Elrond is able to use magic in an age where magic is dying, right? And so they thought it was just a thematic sort of thing. Plus, I think, yes, here's where he says, someone who also sort of points them towards getting ready to head into the mines of Moria for the Fellowship. I think it's mostly a thematic choice to line up with their content plans. CG Heem, given that we're all part of the same Capital Games family, does the Lord of the Ring dev team work closely at all with the Swigo devs? He really didn't answer that one. What are the plans for character farmability cadence? How long will it be from a character being added into the game, from offers and the initial event to when you can farm their shards and either the node or a store? Will there also be a chance to have double drops for required characters? He says there will be a cadence. Doesn't say what it is. They have some ideas, still baking on it. You'll hear something in the near future. So a non-answer. CG Heem. We had a couple of questions similar to the next one as well. With all art, it's certainly a subjective topic, and there's many opinions out there. Any plans for improving the texture resolution of the game and its art? It's interesting that the way that this question is worded and then the way that it is answered. So yeah, there were a couple different questions in this vein that asked about the art in a couple of different ways, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. First, we are committed to the art style of Home, and then he basically goes on to say, we are designing the game for mobile, not emulation software. So they're designing the game for phones, and I think probably tablets gets included in that, but they're not designing it for emulator software. He mentions that they have a settings where you can toggle different graphic settings in the game. I haven't personally found that. Maybe it reads what your device is and what it's capable of and then automatically sets it there. But here's sort of my 2 cents on that whole issue. I don't mind the art style. I actually don't mind I think some of the animations in the game look very, very good. I think the UI is a little bland. The backgrounds are a little bit bland, and it's all running on what seems to be an older version of the Unity engine. So it's the same engine I think that Swigo's run on. I think that's unfortunate. There's probably a little bit of upgrading they could do. Migrating the whole game to a different version of Unity would definitely take them a lot of work and time, and I don't think that that's going to happen. So outside of them doing something on the back end within the current Unity engine, I'm not a game developer, so I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we're going to be seeing any big graphical updates soon. And I think that's interesting that they ended up wording the question like this, improving the texture resolution of the game and its art. So not specifically asking about the style to avoid that, but he answers that anyway with, we're sticking with the style. Again, I don't mind the style so much, the watercolor type thing, but there are elements of the game that I think need more polish. Taking the style into consideration, some things could, I think, be a little bit better. I do love some of the artwork that they're releasing for the game and for certain events, right? I actually really enjoy the stained glass window sort of concept with the marquee releases and with Sam's journey and all that sort of stuff. I do enjoy that artwork quite a bit. I just wish some of that was then sort of spread out to other aspects of the game. Specifically UI elements. Still in the art theme, are there plans to release a soundtrack? No. When looking at the idle music in character screens, main parlor during battles and plans to update, this is confusing questions, revisit or add to the current music selection. There's a solid thematic base for doing Lord of the Rings type music and sound design. And I think he actually hits it on the head here, which is a lot of people play with the sound off. I find myself turning the sound on for this game sometimes. I play about 50-50 sound on, sound off. I do enjoy playing it. I like, it makes the battles seem a little bit more hard-hitting and impactful when you've got the sound on. And I think the sound design is actually pretty good in this game. Back to more game-specific inquiries. Are there any new game modes coming out before raids? No. The next question is one about one of your starting teams that we were introducing in the game. How do they, is Road to Rivendell, the Hobbits plus Strider, performing at expectations? Basically, the answer to this was, sorry, it's not so good in the campaign and the Hobbits aren't that great right now, but we've designed them for future game modes. So either some sort of raid content or some sort of unlock requirement is my guess. How do you plan on making the Lord of the Rings experience unique and set apart from Swigoat? This is a question that I really desperately want answered. Are we playing just copy paste with new IP? And he said, I can't tell you, which is kind of unfortunate. I think I would have really liked to have at least a tidbit, some gossip, perhaps spill a little bit of the tea, because right now I think the player base needs a little bit more stuff to kind of feed on. What does he say exactly, though? We're setting up the foundation of what a game in the genre needs to be successful, and then expanding on pieces we think might make a unique Lord of the Rings experience. So they're going to get certain things down in place to say, okay, this is a hero collecting turn-based RPG game like all the other ones. And once we do that, then they will expand on what makes it Lord of the Rings. Is mounted or ship arena a hard no, or let's see what the future holds? It looks like it's probably not going to happen. CG Heem, any plans for cross progression? I play my games on both my phone and tablet, which are Apple and Android respectively. Have most games loaded on both. I'd like to do that with home as well. I'm currently in the process of talking to EA support about this, and I just had to supply a bunch of proof of purchase screenshots. So hopefully I will have this resolved. It took about a week. I know that there's sort of a backlog of that right now. It'd be good for things to get a little bit more streamlined on that. It's good to see that they're working on the back end there. I love Lord-related questions like this one. There are many large creatures in Lord of the Rings, such as Balrog, Shelob, or dragons. Will we see these large creatures in-game eventually? No. It seems like all of the creatures above troll size are not going to be playable. So that idea from some of the dev interviews that, oh, maybe we would get to play Shelob, I don't think that's happening. I think, yes, they're being relegated to boss content. CG Heem, if you could bring any character from the movies, books, series from the first or second age into the Lord of the Ring lore, or in the Lord of the Ring lore, into the game, who would it be? Treebeard, Durin the First, the Witch King. This is already coming, it seems like, or it's already in the files, right? Treebeard, I would also love to have Treebeard in the game. I think that would be a lot of fun. And then Durin, I think these are all characters that are probably coming into the game. And then it goes on to do human and personal level questions, which I'm not going to cover. You can read in your own time, except for this one. Do you like capybaras? And the answer is yes. So with that, I'm going to end this video with a few thoughts. I think this game has the potential to be good. I don't think it's quite there yet. I'm going to continue to play it because it's a minimal time sink for me. I enjoy playing it as well during that time that I am playing it. I think it has the potential to be a good game if they capitalize on what makes Lord of the Rings unique, and they can bring in a lot of cool different characters from different ages. If they start bringing in basically the gods, Ishtar of Lord of the Rings, and we start to see a lot of that stuff, I think that'll be a lot of fun. And I'm going to make another short video on this probably for Sunday, talking about kind of the state of the game. But where I'm at right now is the developer Q&A didn't give us a lot to go on. I am still having fun playing the game, but I think things need to start happening soonish, before a large chunk of people are not as interested in playing the game. And personally, I won't be as interested in playing the game. But again, I'm going to make another short video on that probably for Sunday. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.